Hello, everybody. Um, it's a bit interesting, bit different. Anybody expecting to see an actual episode of Power Rangers Let There Be Thunder? There isn't one today. It will be on its normal time tomorrow. Today, we're doing something different. We will be building at least one, maybe more characters based on input from the chat. So if you haven't already and you're sticking around, grab your book, grab your PDF, grab your whichever you want to use. I'm going a bit more high tech today than I was yesterday and using the PDF. And it's really weird because it's just me. Which is very strange because there's normally somebody to talk in my ear. Yeah, it's an interesting one. But how is everybody in the chat today? Everybody having a good day? So far, so good. We got thumbs up. Doing good. Good to hear. Oh, this will be interesting. After having a picnic on my bedroom floor watching the stream. That sounds like a good idea myself. Yeah. Anybody that was here yesterday will know that I managed to break Nightbot and got fed up with trying to fix it. So, Stream Elements, we're trying you. So let's have a look and see. Nope. Okay. That's an interesting one. Oh, this silly, silly thing. I would agree with you, except it really should have sorted itself out, and it didn't. Let's just. Oh. OBS did very helpfully log me out of Twitch chat some point in the last 22 hours, however, which was very helpful of it. It worked. Woohoo! Okay, so broke Nightbot but fixed or didn't break Stream Elements while setting that up. So that's a positive. That is a net positive. We are taking the win. I can deal with that. We are... Oh, that is fantastic to hear. I will take you up on your offer. I've managed to do some bits, import some of the stuff over. I wouldn't have... But if I don't have something to worry about, like, I'm not sure what I'd do with myself. Yeah. We're going to give it just a couple more minutes, just for anybody else to filter in, and then we will jump into the character creation with the very first step. Nice and easy. We're going to skip the name, and we're going to go straight to origins. I worry about my players all the time, and their characters. I can focus on tormenting my players. That is a fair point. That is a fair point. So the intention is to use the origins purely out of the Power Rangers role-playing game book. But so the origins available in the Power Rangers role-playing book are athletic, brainy, comedic, curious, cynical, kind, oddball, popular, rebellious, and tragic. And for the record, it's worry more in a concerned parent kind of way. I don't need to worry about how I can torment the players or their characters. I know how I can do that. Okay, let's go ahead and start. So, first step first. Don't everybody yell at once. Popular. We can go with popular. So popular's nice and easy. You were born to be raised up on a social pedestal by your peers and looked up at by the rest of the masses. You weren't necessarily prom king or prom queen, but your name was assuredly on the ballot. Everyone knows who you are, and the majority of people think you are a pretty okay person. There are benefits to being the cool kid, and hopefully you don't take them for being don't take them for granted. This is, just for the record, the one I used for Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. So then, with popular, we have a starting health of 1, which will pop in here in the box, very easily labelled health. We get either a +1 to strength or social. So go ahead and pick. We're going to social. Okay. And with social skills then we can pick performance, persuasion or streetwise. Everybody in the chat yelled out social. So social definitely seems to be the agreed upon choice. Or everybody who has responded so far at least has yelled out social. And we are going with performance. So with the increase to performance, we'll mark that off as a D2. We get to be fluent in our native language, which we're going to mark off as English. And we are fluent in 1 additional language for each 3 points of social. So I'll just mark that in there as well. Oh, unfortunately, yep. That was a 2 against 1. Performance versus persuasion. Fantastic. So the origin benefit is nice and easy. You have learned, so the origin benefit is called Are You Who I Think You Are? And essentially, as long as you're in a position to be recognized for being a sort of small celebrity, social celebrity, local celebrity, you can be considered to have an applicable specialization in deception, persuasion, or streetwise, which is pretty awesome. If you were here yesterday, we talked about specializations. They're very useful for passing checks, for getting criticals. Specializations are very, very awesome in this system. So being able to act as if you have one, I will take it. Which spectrum are we going to go for? Persuasion isn't a spectrum. Red? Red? We are going for red. we go. Red Ranger. And we're just going to put level 1 in there. So it's nice and easy. We'll do yet very much seems to be the Brian choice of words. Brian CP Steel. When we might see purple, we don't know, but it does seem to be, at least from what he has said or implied, or we are inferring in testing. So maybe soon? Maybe we'll find out at RenCon, weekend after next, February 3rd and 4th. Who knows? I wish I did. I don't. Just throwing it out there. There have not been any homebrew spectrums that I'm aware of. There's been a lot of homebrew Transformers material. I don't even think there's been that much homebrew G.I. Joe material. At least not on the Discord. I couldn't say about the Facebook group. It's possible there's something on there, but it's not somewhere I go. So if somebody is on the Facebook group and is aware of any, feel free to chime in. But let's bring this back up very quickly. So as the Red Ranger, we get a +2 to strength and another +1 to social. And we get a +2 to might. So we're going to pop that into a D4. And we also get a D2 in persuasion. We are trained in heavy armor. So we're going to go ahead and put a 4 in the armor section here. And down where it says perks, we have got the It's Morphin Time and Power Strike roll perks. That is, yes, we have persuasion now. And I have just realized, let's have a quick look. Forgot to take down the movement, which is also from Origin, and that's going to be 30 foot for popular. That's nice and easy. Okay, is influences. So we have to pick one. We can take up to 3 at character creation. We have got a list here of the influences by any chance that I can read out. We do indeed. So we have artisan, caretaker, community helper, small town roots, martial artist, nomad, not from around here, student, survivor, and teacher. So we've got martial artist or artisan. Okay. Another vote for martial artist. A vote for survivor. It's looking like martial artist. We're going to go with martial artist, at least for the first one. As I said, we can take up to 3. With the first influence, you do not take a hang up. For every influence after the first, you do have to take one. So martial artists is nice. We'll grab that. And there's some lovely tables here as well. So if anybody's got a dice at hand, a D20 or a D12 or both, does somebody want to roll me a D20 and a D12? And we can generate, just for flavour, the speciality of the martial artist and their bond. A D20 separate from the D12. So I want the D20 result and the D. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So we've got a 12 on the D20 and a. No, that's okay. That's brilliant. So we've got a 12 on the D20 and a 7 on the. You know what? I'm going to take the 9 on the D7, the D12 from Ginge 9070, who we all know as the lovely Michael/Peter from the Let There Be Thunder game. So that is going to be. Oh, so this one is the specialty is. I'm probably not pronouncing this correctly, and I apologize to anybody who may know how to pronounce it properly. It's spelled Lamb. I want to pronounce it lamb, and apparently it's from the Senegal. No, Twitch is being twitchy. And the 9 for the martial artist bond is, I believe the ultimate goal of my martial arts training is to spark the growth and development of the spirit, mind, and body. Or the B is silent, so it's Lam. I'm definitely going to have to look this up afterwards. I'm curious about this particular martial arts. And we can scroll down to the second page, and in the background bonds we can pop, just because it's not a lot of room in the box, we'll just put martial arts 9. What I'll just do in here is martial arts, and we'll do this. We are building an unnamed Red Ranger so far. We have yet to come up with a name. It's going to be very interesting when we do. We haven't got that far. That is, yes. I'm curious now whether or not this particular influence was... It'd be interesting to see. So for those that can't see the chat, which is everybody but myself, we have Brian CP still has just joined us just to see who we're making, and was just asking about the martial arts style. I don't think this was the martial arts style that Brian picked. I could be wrong. But, so we've got martial artist. Are we going for a second influence? Sometimes I feel like it's a good thing people can't see the chat in these videos. Oh. Twitch and I seem to be having some very, very silly problems tonight. This is slightly disconcerting. I think this is now the third time. So that's 2 votes for Artisan then. Which works out well because as the popular origin, you guys did pick performance. So that sits nicely with the Artisan influence. And we've got those dice out still, hopefully. Somebody go ahead and roll me a D8 for the Artisan art style. And somebody roll me a D12 for the background bond. This is truly going to be the most chaotic character. Was the 3 from the D8 or the D12? Okay, so we've got a 3 from the D8. This is actually kind of interesting. So our art department has randomly generated that the artisan art style shall be drawing/painting. And making people smile makes all my work worthwhile. Are we going for a third influence, or are we sticking with 2? Oh, we've got 2 votes for Survivor. 3 votes for Survivor. You have been outvoted for Teacher, unfortunately, for the 3rd time. Oh, Brian throwing in the technicality. It was a tie between Artisan and Survivor. So, yep, Survivor does feel appropriate. Oh. And let's just scroll up very quickly. Let's grab the lovely table. So we've got Survivor Bond, a table with 1d12, and I'm going to suggest that I'm going to throw out there that Anne should definitely roll that 1d12 if she has one to hand. And while she's just doing that, we're just going to do a quick recap. So we picked our origin, which was popular. Once we had our origin, we picked our role, Red Ranger, and we've now got 3 influences, which is martial artist, artisan, and now survivor. Popular, we went for a social increase to our essence. And we've got a 12 on the D12. When I see someone who is sad or in other distress, I feel compelled to reach out in friendship. Somebody's cutting onions around here. So we have influences, we have origins, or origin singular, we have a role. We are most of the way through creating, most of the way through creating our new Red Ranger. As you can see, we have 4 points in our essence with 4 different skills. We've got a D4 under strength, so that's a 1, 2. And for social, we've got a D2, that's 1 there, and a D2 on persuasion. We do get 12 more points to distribute how we wish. The book suggests a spread of 4, 3, 3, 2, just so you don't go really crazy on one and leave something really, really low. I quite like that, but I also like to try and put the 4 personally in one of the essence that hasn't had anything in it or only had a 1 instead of putting like going for like a 6 or a 7 straight off the bat. But chat, you're building a character. What do you want the 4 in? It's got 1 vote for strength. Oh, or speed. 2 votes for speed. 3 votes for speed. We're going to go for speed. I'm curious what... I'm not surprised that somebody would say strength, but we're going to go for speed because that's 3 for speed. So we will pop the 4 there under essence, which will give us a 14 evasion. We're going to go for 3 for strength, which will pop that to 5. Maybe a 3 for smarts, and then a 2 for social. So we've got a 5, 4, 3, 4. How do you think that sounds? As you might be able to tell, you would need to have a minimum of 1 point in everything else. If you're at a 0, you're... Depending on the essence score, 0 gives you a huge penalty. So minimum of 1 at character creation, and I would suggest higher than a 1. But you could put, say, like 2 points into everything else, so then everything else into strength, and have a very strong character, or somebody with the potential for a lot of strength with a high toughness. But then their evasion would be very low, their willpower would be very low, their cleverness would be very low. They'd be probably a bit of a one-trick pony as well. So I think then we're leaning towards a 3 for social, towards a 3. One trick unicorn. Yep. Okay, so 3 in social and 2 in smarts. Okay, so we've got some more skill points to distribute. We'll go left to right. We've got 3 points in strength. We only have the 1 health, which we got from our origin, so it is always useful to pick a point of conditioning. And it does seem like might may be our melee skill of choice. All the conditioning. 2 points in conditioning. One to conditioning and 2 to might. Nothing in intimidation. Yep. So one of the role perks is one of the things with being a Power Ranger is you can jump very high and very far potentially. So athletics is kind of useful. They're arguing in chat now. Whose idea was this? Let's go for a compromise. We've gone for 3, 2, and 1 for conditioning. Let's do 2 for conditioning. And then pick another skill to put 1 point in. Pick the... We have Michael in the chat voting for more strength. I'd need to check the video, which is on YouTube, but I do believe he was... I want to say like a 6 strength to begin with. And yep, as Brian is saying, having at least 3 health does mean that you would survive a critical hit from a basic putty attack. So, very useful to know. Very useful to bear in mind as well. So we've got 1 vote for athletics, 1 vote for athletics or brawn, We're going to give it a few seconds and then we're going to throw it into athletics. Unless somebody says otherwise. Athletics at D2. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which ties up with our strength of 5. We now move over to our speed, which we have 4 points into. Something we covered yesterday, and just something to bear in mind again. So Zords, at the very least at the moment, are going to be using driving. Just something to bear in mind. And initiative is a very useful skill, especially as a Red Ranger. So we've got to vote for a D2 in initiative. Never forget driving. Targeting is definitely useful for a ranged attack. So far we've had a D2 in targeting, a D2 in driving, a D2 or a D4 in initiative, so let's go for D2, D4, and D2 then. And again, I keep harping on about this, but it's the easiest way to know that you've put as many skills in as you should have, really. If you've got speed 4, the skills you've got should add up to 4 points. So driving is 1 point, initiative is 2 points, and targeting is 1 point. Fantastic. Smarts. Our Red Ranger doesn't have the potential for a lot of brain power. I think a good rule of thumb for pretty much any tabletop role-playing game is to know when someone's coming towards you or hiding from you. So maybe a D2 in alertness. Interesting. So we've got an alertness and survival vote. We've got a D4 in alertness. Another D4 in alertness. Sorry. Um, Brian still was explaining the difference between targeting and athletics for ranged attacks, and clarified that for throwing stuff such as putties, athletics would be useful. We are going to go for a D4 on that alertness, which is nice and easy. 1, 2, 2 in smarts. And then we've got social, which you've already got 2 points in, 1 in persuasion and 1 in performance. That's 3 more points to go. Where would we like to put them? And Brian's just said he did have somebody in a convention use science with a geometry specialization to throw ricocheting billiard balls, which I think is one of the really cool things about Essence 20. You think of a way to use a skill that may not be conventional, or may not be like straight to mind. And if it makes sense and your GM agrees with it, go for it. And sometimes you can even learn things. So we've got an increase to performance, 2 increases to performance, and 1 to persuasion. Remember that with our popular origin, we are able to treat some of these social skills as if we are specialized. So maybe increasing some of these could be useful. That was deception, persuasion, or streetwise. Awful tonight. He streams his art on Twitch. So maybe an increase to performance, an increase to persuasion, and maybe 1 to streetwise. Just so it kind of works with Survivor. Maybe. Just knowing how to get about in town. Let's go with that. So that gives us our 5 points in social as well. And we've kind of referred to our Red Ranger as a he. Does anybody have a name for our Red Ranger? Otherwise, I'm going to pick a name from one of the spines of one of these books. Joseph? Fantastic. So we have Joseph, our first level Red Ranger. Joseph McKinley. So here we have it, Joseph Joey McKinley, the popular Red Ranger, who is a martial artist with a love of painting and a bit of a survivor. Nice and easy. Honestly, it's one of the things I love the most about Essence 20. We've spent, you think about it collaboratively, we've spent 45 minutes building a character. On your own, with an idea what you want to build, it doesn't take long at all. And you can build it however you want to build it. Joseph McKinley may even have to become an NPC in our game, I do believe. Just because I'm liking the name. Just going to pop up, maybe, from time to time. I was planning on doing a Zord build, but with all the issues we're having with Twitch, I think, as frustrating as it is, we may have to leave it there and try again next week. What we'll do is, yeah, exactly. Just as Davy Jones shows it, as Davy Jones show said, it was nice and easy. I'm not quite sure what is going on with Twitch today, but I think this video is now in 6 pieces. I will edit it all together and pop it up on YouTube. Yeah. Apologies, everybody. I'm really not sure what is happening. I have checked my own internet in between, and yep, the fiber optic is still working perfectly fine. I'm hoping, praying that it is working tomorrow, because we do have our regular game. Yeah. I will see you all tomorrow. Some of you in the game, some of you in the chat, hopefully. And I will see you all next Tuesday. Yeah, let's if you're happy to do so, I will progress our lovely Joey McKinley to level 3. And we will build his Zord on Tuesday. Thank you very much for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for building Joey. Have a great evening. And may the power protect you.